All right, let's check my audio. Make sure it's working. Okay, we're in business. Today, we're going to be analyzing a deal. Let's see. 1801 Algonquin Street, Waco, Texas, 3.25% interest rate. It's a 1339 square feet. And just for those of you that want to watch this full screen, just go to youtube.com/@Kent_HE. ARV 235. Okay. Purchase price is 211,335. Okay. Principal balance 194,335. Okay. Okay, some details here. Total entry fee, $10,500 in arrears. So you can see why this person's selling on subto. They are in a little bit of pain. $7,000 to the cash to the seller. Lucky them. And $12,500 of assignment fee. 3 weeks post-possession to sellers. I do not love that the seller gets to stay in the home after you close. That's not necessarily ideal, in my opinion. All right, $1,750 for long-term rent. All right, let's go ahead and look at this property really quick. So I looked it up on Redfin really quick too. This does look pretty much turnkey, unless the home has been trashed since we last seen it. Since it was last sold in August 2021, so it's roughly 2-3 years ago. So you assume that it's probably in the still pretty good condition. But I'm gonna set aside some money to paint the entire place. That's for sure. This looks like a area where next to the gas station, bunch of old cars. The whole store. Okay, I don't see anything crazy out here. Let's see if I can get the crime score. So I'm going to tophap.com, tophap.com, click on the neighborhood section, and then the crime score is 132. Just a little bit out of the average that would make me comfortable, but that just might be how it is for this area. All right. Let's see. What county is this area in? Let me see if I can get the McLennan County. So I'm going to Google HUD FMR. Click on the first link. Click on access a small area FMR. And what I'm trying to do here is get the rent ceiling. So when I go to Texas, this is McLennan. And I'm going to get the rent ceiling by zip code. Whoops. 76707. And you see here that the rent ceiling for a 3-bed is $1,590 compared to $1,640 for a 4-bed. That tells me that there's really zero left to turn this property from a 3-bedroom to a 4-bedroom. So I'm not going to look into, hey, whatever turns into a 4-bedroom, because it doesn't seem to be that high. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to get the market rents. The number you want to pay attention to here is the number on the bottom right. You see here that it says on affordablehousing.com in the market rent estimator section, where you see that the address and the bedroom count. It says that for 25 units within a 0.43 mile radius, the market rent is $1,474. When you compare that to the rent ceiling, right? The rent ceiling is what we saw in HUD FMR, and that was $1,590. Okay. If you thought this was going to be the rent you automatically were going to get, you might be mistaken because of the rent reasonableness test. The rent reasonableness test states that you cannot charge more rent to a voucher holder simply because they are a voucher holder. So if you think that you can automatically charge $1,590, when in fact there are 25 units within a 0.43 mile radius that's renting up for $1,475, you might be $115 too optimistic. Now, can you make that case? Yeah, sure, you might get lucky. But if this was truly a deal, what I would do is give a call to the housing authority. Ask them, hey, how are you currently determining rents right now? What do you value most? Do you value extra bathroom? Do you value square footage? Do you value covering utilities, et cetera, et cetera? So those are all the questions that you want to ask. Usually housing authorities will say, no, we will not let you charge more rent than what is reasonable unless or but, right? That's the situation we care about. So we got the rent for a 4-bedroom, which is $1,767, which is actually higher than the rent ceiling, so $1,640. So essentially, your rent range goes to a max of $1,640 and a low of 1475. Those would be the assumptions that I would use personally to underwrite this property. Okay. Now, after I saw the condition of the property, we saw that it was in pretty good shape. I'm going to set aside some money just to set aside for painting the place. I'm going to go ahead and let's plug in some numbers here. So, purchase price is, where was it? 211,335. 211,335. Our rehab is going to be sets aside $1,500 for the roof, $500 to keep the landscaping nice outside, and the square footage here is 1339. So I'm gonna set aside 1339 to paint the place, and I don't need to update any other parts on this property. So it gives me about roughly $7,000 in rehab with some contingencies, just in case something pops up and I don't know anything about. $7,000 is very, very reasonable in my opinion. All right. Next thing up is we have our mortgage balance, $194,335.10 with a 3.25% interest rate. We're going to plug this guy right in the right-hand side. 3.25% interest rate, and then the don't care about the date, so they didn't even disclose it. But this is the number you care most about, the 1630.85. All right. Why? That's because you're going to go to this property tax section. You're going to do 1630.85 minus the sub-2 balance of the principal payment minus the sub-2 loans interest payment. And then that's how you're going to get your remaining amount. So $785 is going to be allocated towards your taxes and your insurance number. You don't need to get these numbers exactly right because you just care about what's being disclosed as your total PITI number, right? Because our first goal is to determine whether or not this deal is even worth our time to investigate further. All right. Okay. So I can zoom out a little bit. Let's see if that helps. All right. Next up is the arrears. 10,500 for arrears. 7,500 for arrears. I mean 10,500. I'm sorry, 10,500. $7,500 cash to the seller, and then it was a $12,000 assignment fee. I'm gonna plug that one right in there. Okay. All right. It's weird. Doesn't zoom in like that. 150. Here we go. Hopefully that helps. All right, now that I got all these numbers in there, I got $0 for HOA, I got 10% for the maintenance, I got 8% for property management. Let's bump this up to 10% because it's a little bit more rural here in Waco, in my opinion. And I got 5% for my vacancy, just because it's not the best crime score, so I'm not going to assume someone's going to stay there forever. And if my rent right now is going to be $1,475, I can already tell that this probably is going to lose me money. Now, I'm going to write down these numbers here just so you guys can see what the process should look like. I'm just going to take down the 4-bedroom rents because this is not going to be a cash flowing deal. 76707. This is the 4-bed. 1590 and 1640 because that number didn't really jump up. I'm gonna do 1474 because that's the number you care most about. And again, we got all these numbers from the affordablehousing.com page. 1532, 1532, 1591, and 1652. 1652. Now I'm gonna write down the rents for a 4-bedroom too, just so we can have it. Because what's interesting to me is 1767. Maybe this is not good as a Section 8 rental for a 4-bedroom, but maybe if you are able to get 1767 for your market rents, then maybe that could turn it into a better deal. Let's see what that results in. 1925. Okay, 1925. So as a 3-bedroom right now, with the gross rents of 1475, this property will cash flow negative 554. And that's a negative 11.6% cash on cash return, assuming your purchase price was $211,335 and everything else stayed the same at, whoops, take out this $15,000. I had a $15,000 extra by accident as a 4-bedroom. So that was a negative 16% almost return, assuming a $7,200 rehab. Okay. Now, if I were to turn this into a 4-bedroom property, was that even possible? Is there even space for me to turn this into a 4-bedroom? That looks like a primary. Yeah, I just don't see how you would turn this into a 4-bedroom unless you just took out the dining room and then turn it into a thing. So I don't even think you can turn it into a 4-bedroom. But regardless, even if you turn it into a 4-bedroom at $1,767 of rent, you're still negative cash flowing for this property. So there wasn't like an easy attached garage that you can turn into an additional bedroom. So to me, this is not a deal for those specific reasons. So hopefully that helps you all take a quick look at this property. Now, in my opinion, if you wanted to save yourself some time and truly think about how do I rule out properties a lot faster? If you want to rule out properties a lot faster, and most importantly, save yourself from burning out, because in my opinion, you burn out when you do a lot of work for no results in return. If you want to underwrite this property at 1630.85, and you see that your market rents on affordable housing was 1474, that already tells you that the market rent, when you compare it, because you have to use a rent reasonableness test, because the market rent is already lower than the PITI, you already know this property is going to lose you money. And for me, I would have stopped there because I'm not in the business of buying negative cash flow on property. It's just unsustainable to reach into your pocket every single month to make this self-sustaining. That's just not reality, because, well, the best phrase I've heard is no margin, no mission. If you can't make any margins, it's not financially sustainable to pay the right people to keep you in that mission, nor is it financially sustainable to help you continue your mission further if there's never any surplus to reinvest back into the business and make things better. So that is the point where I would have ruled out the deal right here when I compare this number and the affordablehousing.com. So if you want to save time in the future, you could just look at the PITI, do a quick lookup on the HUD FMR, do a quick lookup for the market rent, and you could probably rule out the deal. Now, if you want to get further along in details, all we did today was, one, looked at the condition of the property. We did a street view, so we'll get a gauge of the neighborhood. We then looked at the crime score on tophab.com before we even got into the whole situation with the rents. Because if I've seen some properties like 150, 160 for crime index, chances are that's usually not my goal, because I want someone to feel safe where they live. All right. Awesome. So that's what I wanted to share with you all today. It's Easter Sunday. I hope everybody is able to spend some quality time with your family and friends today. Spend some time, because that's what this life is all about, right? I'm staying consistent. Doesn't matter what it is, what holiday it is. My goal is to go live every single day, analyzing the deal. And my original goal was to analyze the deal for 100 days in a row. And now I'm on day 183. So if I can do it, you can all do it too. All it takes is just 18 minutes a day for you to analyze deals. And you do it for 365 days a year, you will be better than 95% of the world at it. 18 minutes a day. That's all it takes. And better for you. One of the reasons why I do this is so that you can copy my homework. You can simply use the same property I analyzed today using the same spreadsheet. Just DM me on Instagram at InvestorCounty, and I'll send you my spreadsheet. I've been so fortunate. I've been giving that spreadsheet for other folks, and I've just been able to take pieces and bits of others' work and combine it and update it and modify it so that it's sufficient for how I underwrite deals. All right. Amazing. I hope everybody has an amazing Sunday. I will be back here again tomorrow. Have a good day, everybody.